With Bill Maher. Bill, when you first heard the news that a member of Congress had been shot in a politically heated state like Arizona, what was your initial reaction?
That this is really the only country in the world that shoots its leaders at the rate that we do. The last time I think a leader was shot in Britain was 1812. Canada has had 15 or 16 prime ministers. How many have been shot? 0. It's a very well-armed country with a lot of nutty people, and that's a very bad combination.
Is it fair at this point, I mean, obviously there's been a lot of soul-searching, a lot of finger-pointing at this point. Is it fair to be placing blame at the feet of anyone other than the shooter at this point?
Yeah, I mean, not direct blame. No, this guy was clearly a nut. Jared Guy's chalkboard in his basement, I'm not sure it wouldn't look that different than Glenn Beck's chalkboard.
They expressed regret that the attack on Dick Cheney failed.
Right.
More than regret. Well, what did they say? They said they wish
we wish it would die. I mean, it was
okay.
Correct.
But
language.
They said again, if
the bomb was wasted.
All right, but seriously, if this isn't China, shouldn't you be able to say that? Why did Ariana have to get my girlfriend? I love her, but why did she take that off right away? Why did that happen?
Bill, first of all,
and yeah, I think it's disingenuous for the right wing, as I've heard them say today, that we can't make any connection here. Or else the false equivalency argument that I hear, you know, there's a lot of nuts on the left, too. Yeah, there are nutty people on the left, too. They don't make threats.
Cracker, I hate it. You want freedom? You're gonna have to kill some crackers. You're gonna have to kill some of their babies.
When Bush was president, there was Bush equals Hitler signs. From who? Not from someone in Congress. But Sarah Palin put the crosshairs up on her website. That's a person in a position of authority. Her other example was, you know, Keith Olbermann says, worst person in the world. Well, first of all, it's comedy. It's tongue-in-cheek.
We've often said things to Joy, and Joy says, well, we're a comedian, we can say this or that.
I mean, you know.
And it's always from the right.
But at this point, I mean, well, first of all, a lot of people on the right will point to a comment that President Obama, or I think then candidate Obama, made about, you know, bringing a gun to a knife fight. That's the line that I've heard a lot today. Is that a fair comparison?
No, it's not. I mean, maybe it's unfortunate that he would use that metaphor, but, you know, there are such things as guns and knives in the world. We're not trying to say you can't use those words ever in speech. But it's a lot different than this sort of direct idea that it's okay to threaten with bodily harm the people you disagree with.
You guys see Live and Let Die, the great Bond film with Yaphet Kotto as the bad guy, Mr. Big. In the end, they jammed a big CO2 pellet in his face, and he blew up. I have to tell you, Rush Limbaugh is beginning to look more and more like Mr. Big. And at some point, somebody's going to jam a CO2 pellet into his head, and he's going to explode like a giant blimp.
Jesse Kelly, I see one of her...
the Congresswoman.
Right, which said help remove her from office, and in the next line talked about firing M16s. You know, this kind of stuff is not what goes on the left. You cannot point to any sort of equivalency here.
And I'll take dead aim at the cap-and-trade bill, because it's bad for West Virginia.
So when you create an atmosphere of hysteria, yes, of course, the nuts are going to hear it.
Deep in the woods of North Carolina, an extremist eco-group called Earth First bewails the violation of American nature.
I want to mourn the loss of all the old growth trees I've seen, and tell them that we love them and that we don't want them to die, that there are some people here who do care. So I want you to know that, trees, that we care.
I've looked at clear cuts and burnt forest, and I've felt outraged, but I didn't scream and I didn't cry. And I need to.
I've said that if I have 2 dogs, if I had 2 retarded children, I'd be a hero. And yet the dogs, which are pretty much the same thing, what? They're sweet, they're loving, they're kind, but they don't mentally advance at all.
I'm going to throw my shoe at you for that one. Oh.
What? Dogs are like retarded children.
9-year-old nephew is retarded. I've never thought of him like a little dog.
Oh, actually,
well, maybe you should.
You live here?
Yes.
Well, maybe you know what a zombie is. When a person dies and is buried, it seems there's certain voodoo priests who have the power to bring him back to life.
Horrible.
It's worse than horrible because a zombie has no will of his own. You see them sometimes walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring.
You mean like Democrats?